Well, I don't get a chance to fire up iRacing very often these days, but with Low Fuel Motorsport between seasons, it is the perfect opportunity to dive back in at the deep end. Road Atlanta, a terrifying track if ever there was one, particularly when you're sharing it with 23 ultra-aggressive GT4 drivers in the Falken Tyre Challenge. Now ignore the number 7 I'm running with, I am well off the pace here. I've only managed to qualify down in P20. My only goal is survival, but it is not going to be a smooth ride. In particular, there is one very controversial moment that I'd love your thoughts on. I've watched it several times now and I'm still not sure whether I'm in the right or whether I'm in the wrong. But that's still to come. Right now, let's get down on track as we're about to get underway. Well, the pack is actually pretty spread out at the back here, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I certainly don't want to be banging doors on this opening lap. I want to ease myself back into iRacing gently. Lights are green, we are underway, and it's not taken long at all for it to kick off. 1, 2, 3 cars bouncing back off the barriers before we even make it to T1. And that is exactly what I want to see. 3 positions gained already just by playing it safe. And the BMW behind having a sniff. That's Drew Sanson. I'm hoping Drew won't try and tuck it up the inside through this section. Thankfully he doesn't. Meanwhile, we've lost another BMW to the right. That looked like Alex Campbell spinning out. So another place gain. That's 4 positions already, up from P20 to P16. And this is exactly what my game plan has to be. I've just not got the pace to compete with anyone on this grid. So instead, I've just got to play it safe. Keep the car on the road. There will be casualties in this GT4 race. And as well as that, I'm hoping my lap times will start to come down once I get a few laps under my belt and begin to get familiar again with the iRacing handling model. Another crash. And that looked like Ryan Gingrich, who started from P10 on the grid. So that is a 5th position gained on this opening lap. I'm up into P15. And I'm wondering whether another car may have been involved in that latest incident, because there is a slow McLaren back on track. It's Zach Broadway, who started P7 on the grid. And it looks like Joel Goncalves and Khaled El Sadek are both considering moves up the inside. I'm just going to hang back here, and that is exactly the reason why I decided to hang back. I suspected there would be carnage in that last chicane. I took a big whack from behind. I was on the brakes pretty early to avoid ploughing into that wreck, but Nathan Bowden behind didn't react quite as quickly. He drove right into the back of me. That is my first 4X on the board, but more importantly, I'm up into P12, 8 places gained on this opening lap. And this is where the carnage began, before we'd even crossed the line to start the race. 2 Porsches crashing out in spectacular style. That was William Muir on the inside, trying to get past Miguel de Fonseca Pinto. Well, we can see Muir just taking too much of the curb on the inside. That sends him right into the path of Pinto, and the pair of them are out spectacularly there, and they weren't the only ones to be caught out by that curb. Just look how fast Isan Saeed hits it. That catapults him into the number 4 of Dominic Kosek, and Kosek crashes out. Then at the top of the hill, we lose the BMW of Alex Campbell. Just a bit of oversteer there, coming into the corner too fast. Moving on to turn 7, this is where we lost Ryan Gingrich. Now I suspected that another car was involved, and it was Zach Broadway getting all out of shape in front of Gingrich and causing him to crash out. And still the wrecks keep on coming. This is at the final chicane. Joel Goncalves seizing the opportunity to get past the slower Broadway, but he careers right into Isan Saeed. Unfortunately for Goncalves though, it is him that crashes out. And unfortunately for me, I picked up a 4X in this mess. We're riding on board with Nathan Bowden now, and Bowden runs right into the back of me. So yeah, this opening lap resembled more of a demolition derby than a GT4 race. Incredibly, I've picked up 8 freebies in 1 lap, P12. And I know it's not the most ambitious of game plans, but this is going to have to be my strategy in this race. I've just not got the pace to challenge these guys on track, so I'm going to have to use common sense instead. I'm going to have to keep myself safe and know my limits. And with that in mind, I may just leave a bit of a gap on the inside here for Nathan Bowden. I've already been walloped once by Bowden, and I think I'll feel safer and more confident chasing him for now. So that drops me down to P13, but I'm not at all worried about surrendering 1 position at this stage of the race. P13 is still way higher than I expected to be. And given how aggressively everybody else seems to be driving, I can say with complete confidence there will be more crashes in this race. There will be more freebies up for grabs, and already there's one. I can see a cloud of smoke ahead as a car disappears into the gravel at the chicane. And that looked like Mengi's son in the Porsche, so no sooner do I surrender my 12th position, I get it straight back, and there are going to be 2 more positions up for grabs. Dear me, is there going to be anyone left on track by the end of this one? Incredibly, I find myself up into the top 10 at the end of lap 2. And this is another look at Mengi's son exiting stage left. It looks like Son is just trying to open up the corner with a wider entry, not realising that there's already a car on his outside. And that car was none other than the number 20 of Eastern Saeed, who has been involved in his fair share of skirmishes already in this race, and he's just going to get involved in another one. A big collision with Zach Broadway over the top of the hill. Both of them crash out. So if anyone was doubting my game plan of sitting back and taking the freebies, I think the progress here speaks for itself. I've climbed from P20 up into P10 without having to make an overtake. Now we've rejoined the live action on lap 5, and I'm starting to find a bit of a rhythm here. My lap times are beginning to come down. I've opened up a 1 second gap back to Drew Sanson behind, but I'm going to get a big fright. Thomas Ong has lost it, and I guessed the wrong way to go. I'm so lucky that I don't hit the wall there, but that was a terrifying moment. I mean, I had just a split second to decide whether to go left or right. I thought he was moving right, so I went for the left, but it was the wrong guess. Well, let's take another look at this one. We're watching Ong in the Mercedes. He's just going to clip the curb on the outside, coming up over the brow of the hill, loses a bit of traction, hits the tyre wall hard, and he comes to rest right in the middle of the track. Now, as I come over the brow of the hill, I just see him starting to move right, so I switch to the left, and I'm so close to that wall. Thankfully, I managed to survive it with just an off-track to my name, but unfortunately it has wiped out that 1 second advantage I built up over Drew Sanson. Sanson is now just 0.3 of a second back, and I've switched the TV cam on too so we can see how close it is, not just between me and Sanson, but also between me and Alex Campbell, because the 3 of us are all separated by less than 1 second now. It looks like Sanson may have run into the chicane a little bit hot. He was deep into there and it's cost him a position. Alex Campbell has got past, and it has also given me some much needed breathing room. Both of these guys are quicker than me though, so I suspect it'll only be a temporary respite. We're going to jump forward now to the end of lap 7. And sure enough, both of them are back breathing down my neck. Campbell in particular is looking like he wants to make a move. Just 0.1 of a second back. He's going to have a look up the inside into the chicane. Now I am going to leave a little bit of space here. The last thing I want to do is have my rear end tag, but I will manage to maintain the advantage by holding firm. I knew I'd get away with it if I left a gap on the inside entering the corner, as long as I maintain the inside gap myself exiting the corner, and that is exactly what I've done. But look how close it is now. I am under real pressure here from the faster Campbell, and I think it might only be a matter of time before he makes a move. In the meantime, all I can do is carry on hitting my apexes, just trying not to make a mistake, not to give him any possible invitation to try a lunge. And I'm not doing a particularly good job of it at the moment. I was wide out of turn 1, and then I was even wider into the S's. Somehow I'm still managing to hold on to this P9, but for how long I do not know. This is a particularly tricky corner. If you get it wrong, you can lose a lot of time up over the brow of the hill. I don't think I did it too badly, but it looks like Campbell may have been a bit quicker. He's going to have a sniff up the inside. I don't think he's close enough. Oh, but there's contact. It was only light contact, but it looks like it was enough to send Campbell out of the race. Oh no. Well, did Campbell run into the back of me, or did I chop his nose off? We're going to have another look at this one. Campbell having a big look up the inside into turn 6. Now, I didn't leave him much space there, did I? In fact, I didn't leave him any space, but should I have done? That is the big question. We're going to ride on board with Campbell now. And did he get far enough alongside me to earn the right to have that apex? Well, I'm not so sure, but I certainly cut his nose off there. Maybe the chopper cam will give us the definitive answer. Let's take one final look at this incident, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on how far alongside someone you should be to earn that right for some space on the inside. Now, I've paused it at the braking point for the corner, and at this point I am still just about a car length in front. Is that enough for me to take the apex? Or because I know that he's there on my inside, should I have left the space? Well, he's never fully alongside me as I turn into the corner, but he's got a nose in there. Is that enough? I'd love to know your thoughts. Well, of course, the most obvious solution for preventing that incident from ever happening in the first place would have been for me to take the defensive line into turn 6. Unfortunately, I didn't though, and that left me with a big problem of a challenge from Campbell. Unfortunately, it ended with Campbell crashing out. I never like to be involved in a collision that sees another driver spin out, and that's why I'd love to hear what you guys thought of the incident, because I still don't know whether I'm in the right or the wrong. Was I right to defend the position, or was I wrong not to leave space? Anyway, what's done is done. There's nothing I can do to change it now. All I can do is concentrate on defending this 9th position, because we're on the very last lap of the race, just breezing past William Muir there, one of the back markers coming out of pit lane. But yeah, look in the rearview mirror. Over the last couple of laps, Mengy Sun has been getting bigger and bigger in my mirror. I was hoping the race would be over after 10 laps. Unfortunately, we're getting one more lap here, and that is giving Sun a golden opportunity to apply some pressure. He's just 0.6 of a second back now. I've switched the TV cam on so we can keep an eye on things from his point of view. Now, we know that Sun is quicker than I am. He started far higher up the grid, and of course we saw him crash out of the chicane earlier in the race. Well, he has been on a charge since then, clawing his way back through the pack. He's made it up into P10, but it looks like he wants my P9. Now, we're only a couple of corners from home. Can I hold on to this 9th position? I mean, even a top 10 would be a great result from P20 on the grid, but it would be nice if I can cling on to this 9th position. It might be looking unlikely though, because Sun having a sniff up the inside into the chicane. I'm going to leave him space, because once again I can hold the inside line and defend on exit. There's contact. I made my Porsche as big as I possibly could there, making it impossible for Sun to get past. We've just got one final corner to go. I'm holding firm, and I will cling on to take 9th position. Oh, and some afters from Sun there as well. He's not happy. Well, did I defend a bit too aggressively through that final section? Let's check out the replay to have a look. I mean, I actually left him a car's width on the inside there just in case he did consider making a move, so I don't think I did anything wrong there. I mean, there was contact exiting the chicane, but there was nowhere else I could go. I don't know, maybe he felt like I should have left him a bit more room on the inside there, but I was still fully ahead of him, so I think I had every right to take the inside line. Boy, was that an aggressive race. It was brutal out there, and as we check the classified results, we can see that I even gained a bonus position on that last lap. I ended up crossing the line in P8. I didn't even notice it at the time, but it came about due to this huge accident for Mariano Grossman in the Mercedes, crashing out spectacularly down the S's on the very last lap. Grossman was running in P4. And as for me, I did manage to get quicker as the race went on. My fastest lap was a 1:27.6. That's about 1 second quicker than I managed in qualifying. But as you can see from all the other times on this leaderboard, I shouldn't have been anywhere near the top 10. But as it was, I ended up gaining 12 positions without making an overtake. 12 freebies. Crazy. Thanks ever so much for watching.